Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to the Get Up and Go Challenge, Day 5. Everybody's got a P. Of course, we are on the P of our SOAP, the acronym that helps us to solve problems, to face challenges, to overcome dilemmas, roadblocks, anything that gets in the way of getting us from where we are to where we want to be in this pandemic, in this time of chaos and crisis. And there's a whole lot more going on in my neck of the woods right now with some rioting and all kinds of things that have got our area in turmoil. Again, violence is never the solution, people. Violence begets more violence. It does not solve the problem. And I've been in some debates and been getting kind of beaten up on social media because I said violence is not the answer. Looting and damaging businesses because of some injustice and something bad and terrible and heinous that has happened is not going to lead to a solution that helps anyone. It's just making the world a much worse place. It's like thinking that, you know, crime and evil and punishment are going to eliminate, you know, problems and misdeeds in the world. They're not. Evil begets more evil. Crime begets more crime. Violence begets more violence. War begets more war. Never has there ever been a time when the war on anything was successful. How has the war on drugs turned out? Do we have more drugs or less drugs in the world? How is the war on injustice and lack of diversity and treating people like human beings turned out? Every time we protest against it, we go backwards. It feels like in the last 20 years we've gone backwards. And that has nothing to do, except everything to do, with what the P is in SOAP today. P stands for progress. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to make up some dalliance or some story about it right now. I just want to cut to the chase and get to the heart of the matter. And P is progress. Human beings, and I learned this from Tony Robbins decades ago, we always have to feel like we're moving towards something, like we're making progress, like we're growing and expanding and getting better in our lives. If we don't, we feel stunted and stalled and frustrated and held down. And when we feel that way, guess what happens? Things explode. And when things explode, things go haywire. And we have instances like what's going on in the Twin Cities in Minneapolis and St. Paul right now in my area. And there's a whole bunch of nonsense going on with it. It's a campaign year. Whenever there's a campaign year, guess what? People encourage protesting. They want everyone to be unhappy and dissented so that they can get their agenda, so they can put their agenda forth and they can control us, to control the masses. And it's not progress, right? It's the opposite of progress. So today we want to talk about progress. How do we make progress in our life, moving toward what we want? We talked about the 7 main areas of our life, right? Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, relationships, contribution, and financial, of course. And we rated each of those. We rated those on a scale of 1 to 10, and we said, okay, this is where I'm at. Under S for SOAP is our story, our situation. How do we get to where we want to go unless we know where we are, right? We have to know where we are. So we decide, okay, where am I at? What's my reality right now? Maybe it won't be and it hopefully won't be our reality in the future, but right now, this is my situation. This is my story. This is where I am at right now in the present moment, but this is where I want to go. So the rest of the SOAP is all about cleaning a clear path to help us to get to that destination. And P is the progress that we're making toward that thing that we want. I picked my physical well-being as the area I was going to work on during this 5-day challenge. Because guess what? During a 5-day challenge, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to massively impact all 7 areas of your life. And I recently was in a training where they talk about 9 areas of our life, which is 2 areas of my life, I got to admit, I was pretty much ignoring. And they fall under spiritual, and they fall under probably contribution, the other 2 areas that they're separated out. But anyway you look at it, some people talk about the 4 main areas of our life: faith, family, financial, and I don't remember the other one. Anyway, everybody's got their own breakdown of how they like to share information. For me, it's the 7 things I learned from Tony Robbins decades ago, and it just kind of stuck. And I've heard it from other teachers and other gurus and other people that I've read books from, and it makes a lot of sense. And I personally have learned that if you ignore any one of those aspects of your beingness, your whole big personness, it will give you a wake-up call. I feel like the coronavirus has done that for us as a world. It's given us this wake-up call to say, hey, guess what? We're not paying attention to a lot of the aspects and a lot of the things that are going on in the different areas of our life as a global community, as a planet, and we better start paying attention to those. Guess what? Here's your health stop to shut you down so you can reprioritize, so you can shift your thinking on certain areas and certain things and decide, are you really on the course that you want to be on? Are you making progress toward the goals and objectives and things that you say are truly important to you? Again, I picked physical as the one I'm working on, and I've had to do this before. I've had to step back, and I've had my own personal pandemic, right? I had a sudden cardiac arrest years ago, and I had a dead stop. I had a health stop. I died. I was in a coma. I was frozen, and luckily for me and my family, I was able to be revived and resuscitated, and I lived through that, I guess, dilemma or crisis or trauma, to determine what direction did I want my life to go. To me, it was a dead stop and an interruption, and it was probably the thing that I needed to get me to stop and pay attention to all the things I was ignoring in my life, the areas of my life that I was putting on absolute hold and was not even barely eating and sleeping enough to get by, much less taking care of my health. In my relationships, I was in a very, very rocky relationship. My marriage was totally on the rocks, and I was running through my life and putting all my effort into my businesses and financial so that I didn't have to deal with the problems in my relationship, the problems with my health, that, you know, raising my kids and everything else. And we do that. Sorry about that. Son's calling. He's over at Costco with my granddaughter. So one of the things I want to teach you that I learned after my cardiac arrest was something I'd done earlier in my career called a lifeline exercise. And all you do is you grab a piece of paper, and I just did this really quickly, and you take a line and draw it, and you just start mapping out the high points and the low points in your life. Some people do the positive things that happen in their life above the line. Other people do the negative things below the line. It's up to you to do it any way you want. Or I actually have a couple of my coaching students that are doing like they're graphing out in a journal, in a book, each year of their life. They're writing what are the highlights and the lowlights, what are the big things that happened to them over, not necessarily their whole life, but over different periods of their life. It doesn't really do us much good to go back to when we're born and go from there in our lifeline exercise. Although you'll notice I did put 1960, I was born. But we want to go through and we want to put the high points and the low points. And I've got on here, you know, as a low point, my sudden cardiac arrest. You know, if you're dead, that's about as low as you can go on this dimension, right? I've got the coronavirus on here. I've got, in my 20s when I was sick and bedridden, I've got my kidney and eye surgeries on here. I've got jobs I got, awards I've gotten, business successes I've had. And what we're looking for as we do this is, what is the general direction, in our opinion, of our life right now? Do we have more events that we're stacking on the positive side, or do we have more events that we're stacking on the negative side? Are we trending up in our life, or are we trending down? All of us want to be trending up in our life, right? We want to be making progress. Just like a graph of the stock market, or a graph of sales for your business, or a graph of anything, with the exception of our weight. I don't know anybody that wants their weight to be trending up except my ex-mother-in-law. Everybody else wants their weight to be trending down or staying the same. But we want to look at the direction our life is going. And if it isn't trending up right now, guess what? When do we change that? We start changing that right now. We start changing that now by making different choices. We start changing that by looking at the areas of our life and deciding consciously, what do we want to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Maybe my mental health is at a 6, and I'm perfectly okay with that right now because I've got other areas of my life. Say my relationships are at a 3 and my physical well-being's at a 4. I need to pay attention to my physical well-being and my relationships. Maybe that's what's pulling down my mental well-being, and I'm just going to let my mental well-being go while I deal with those other things. It's entirely up to us. Each of us are here to experience our life as only we uniquely can, and to figure things out that work for us, because it's all about what works for you, right? It's about what works for you. It's about what works for me. I say, never listen to any expert or any guru that your gut says or your brain says, something's off here. This just doesn't feel right for me. I hear what they're saying. I understand their experience with it, but that hasn't been my experience with it. And why is that? And if it doesn't feel right, then they're not the right person for you. If what I'm saying sounds like bullpucky, I am not the right person for you to be listening to and learning. We all respond to different people differently. That's why there's plenty of room in the whole wide world for each and every one of us. So do this just little life exercise. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can keep it really simple. Like I said, I did my entire 60 years on one little piece of paper. So if I can fit 60 years on one piece of paper, probably other people can too. We're looking for the high points. We're looking for the low points. We're looking for the events in our life that just made our heart sing and were awesome, and we're looking for the ones that we wish had never happened, but then we're going to ask ourselves, what did I learn from that? And I will admit that I saw a pattern of decreasing, like getting worse, decreasing progress with respect to my physical well-being and my health. In the 80s, I was bedridden and sick, and I paid a lot of attention to my health for a while, and I did really, really well. And then I fell down again in the 90s with my eyes and my kidneys and my health again. And then I did really, really well for a while. And then I ignored my health for a long, long time. And I had a sudden cardiac arrest and died. So I saw significantly more severe events happening to me because I didn't make massive lifestyle changes. Back when I was first sick and bedridden, I made lots of changes, but I didn't make massive ones that lasted me for the rest of my life. I made some that I let go of when I was raising my family and raising my kids. And so I learned from that, and the universe said, hey, we're going to give you another adjustment. We're going to give you one more chance. You know, third time's a charm, and you're either going to get it, you're going to learn the lessons we're trying to teach you, or you're not. And if you're not going to be here, because statistically, you know, the vast majority, the huge, like 97% of the population doesn't survive 3 to 6 years after a heart event, a sudden cardiac arrest or a heart attack or something, unless they make massive lifestyle changes. So I have chosen to make massive lifestyle changes. Now, in addition to doing this life exercise, this gives us just a snapshot, right? And gives us an idea and a way to gauge and measure how we're doing. Because guess what? If we don't measure something, we measure things that matter to us, right? We pay attention to and we give our attention to things that are a priority for us. I love when I catch myself saying, because I, like all human beings, will use this, I don't have time. I don't have time for that. And we use that as an excuse for other people and sometimes to ourselves to let ourselves off the hook for not wanting to actually say, that's not a priority for me. And it's okay to say, I don't have time, or I'm not going to make time for this because what you're asking me to do is not a priority for me. I've got 24 hours in a day, you've got 24 hours in a day, and we each get to decide what we're going to do with those hours. It's up to each and every one of us. Nobody really needs to dictate to us how we spend our time. And that way we decide to invest our time, I say we invest our time in things that are a priority to us, is up to us based on our priorities, based on what's important to us. The other thing about progress, and to know if we're making progress, is to set not only measures in place and having a way to measure it, but systems and processes and habits that yield predictable results. We put things in place that we know we've tried, we've experimented with. Hey, this works every time. If I make this a habit, then I know I'll get this result. If I follow my morning routine with respect to my health, I know I'm going to have more energy throughout the day. If I don't, I know I'm going to not have as much energy throughout the day. If I take my vitamins every day and at the times that I've set and discovered work best for me throughout the day, I know I'm going to feel better. I'm going to have more energy. I'm not going to be hungry. I'm not going to be craving sweets and caffeine as I sip my coffee all day long. But if I don't take them, and how I track the vitamin thing is I have a week vitamin, morning, lunch, evening, supper and evening, and I have 4 sections, and I have a whole week at a time, and I look at it at the end of the week, and I can clearly, quickly see if I missed a dose of my nutritional supplements and my vitamins and my medications and things I'm supposed to take to keep me healthy. And then I compare that to, well, how was I feeling this afternoon when I didn't take my vitamins? And there's a clear correlation to me, but I can visually, quickly, and easily see whether I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, whether I'm following my process, my habits, or not. So we want to create processes and systems and habits that support the progress that we want to make in our life. And the other topic with respect to progress is we just start where we are. We do what we can with what we've got right now, and we move toward what we want, making progress in little increments, one small step a day, one thing a day, one little move toward the things that we want each and every day. And some days we'll do big things and we'll make massive progress. Other days or weeks or months, we'll just make little tiny incremental steps toward what it is that we want. It would be awesome if I could say, I want to be a 9 with my physical well-being. I'm going to get there and I'm just going to stay there. I don't have to do anything to make sure that happens. Unfortunately, if we're not improving and progressing and trending up, we're sliding back, declining, and going backwards, right? So I want to make sure that I have some fail-safe systems and habits in place so that I don't fall back, because I always want to be making continuous improvement. Lifelong, we do that by being a lifelong learner. We do that by always looking for ways to improve something. Absolutely everything and anything on this planet that is being done right now can be improved and will be improved over time. Everything we do, we could do better, more efficiently, more effectively, with less energy, with less resources expended, whatever. Anything and everything we do has the ability to be continuously improved. The way we solve problems, the way we handle challenges, the way we do everything. We want to keep going through this cycle and the steps and continuously improving. We've built it on the foundation of soap, right? But every time we go through the process, we get a little bit better at it. We get faster, we get more efficient, we get more effective. We get to the point where it's just automatic. I actually have to think when I'm doing a challenge how to break down this into steps, the soap steps, because my brain just does it automatically. I'm faced with a challenge, I whip through all of them almost on a subconscious level and start to take action immediately, start to check my progress. Am I continually improving? Am I doing something every day to move me toward this goal or objective, or to overcome this challenge or obstacle or roadblock or difficulty? And after it becomes automatic, you just catch yourself continuously putting processes in place, analyzing them, looking at the results you're getting, measuring them, tracking whether you're getting progress toward what it is that you want or not. And depending on what the goal is, depending on the area of your life, will determine how fancy or how complicated a process, and based on your personality, how complicated a process you want to track things. I track certain areas of my life just by journaling. Mental, emotional. For the most part, I don't do any fancy way of measuring that. How do I measure that? This morning I woke up perplexed and in a funky mood, and I didn't sleep well last night, but I know exactly what the source of that emotional and I get kind of spiritual, and mental dilemma was. I was frustrated by the way people behave online, the bullying and the inappropriate behavior and the comments and the assumptions and the judgment. Guess what? People behave that way in life in general, but online they seem to believe that there's this screen of protection and anonymity around them, and that they can say and do anything they want and it's okay. And it's not okay, right? We all need to treat one another with dignity and respect, no matter where we are, no matter where we're interacting with them, because we're trying to raise the level and progress in our humanity, not to go backwards. So, our action item today, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick the one thing that you're going to turn into a system or a habit. We've had a couple of days to practice now doing something every day to move us toward our goal, toward our objective. I physically want to be able to fit into all my clothes. I want to have more energy to do the things I want to do with my granddaughter, with my kids, with my summer. It's summer where I live right now, and we only get a few months of it, so I want to have the energy to take advantage of it. So physically, I am working on improving by, putting old habits back in place and starting some new habits, revisiting some habits that I've had in the past that worked for me that I just, for some reason, fizzled away and stopped doing. Isn't it interesting how habits that are good for us, systems and processes and procedures and things that are really, really good for us, for our well-being in any area of our life, are hard to start and super easy to quit? Think of the morning routine. So many people I know have started morning routines, they benefited from them, and then for some reason or other, they just stopped doing them. Or me, eating salad dressing. I've gone literally years, probably 10 years, pretty much never eating salad dressing, and all of a sudden in COVID-19, salad dressing has weaseled its little way back into my life. Now, Starting yesterday, it weaseled its way out of my life. And I'm starting a 40-day challenge on Monday. Probably get up and go 40-day challenge. Never done a 40-day challenge, but physical will be part of it. I'm going to work on 5 things. I haven't selected my 5 things yet, but during the 40-day challenge, I'm going to pick 5 things and break that down and do that. If you want to come along with me, just mention it in the comments below. And we will probably do it right here on the Get Up and Go Challenge page. But I will be doing it and documenting my journey as I go through the 40-day challenge. If you want, I will structure a 40-day challenge for us because we're each doing our own. I mean, doing this with the Rise Up Challenge, everybody is just creating their own 40-day challenge. And so I'm going to do a 40-day Get Up and Go challenge to help me in my business life, to help me in my physical life for sure, and to help me in my I don't know. I'm gonna pick 5 areas. So 5 big goals that I want to work on and make massive changes for myself over the next 40 days, starting June 1st. I did the first Get Up and Go challenge all during the month of April, and I did a 30-day challenge for April, and now I'll do a 41 for June and July because it's fun and it's a good way. It's fun to do this together. It's a lot more fun to be going through things together than it is to be doing it on our own. At least for me. I guess I'm a social animal. So progress today. So our action item is to share one thing that you're going to systematize or turn into a habit. Me, my new habit is no salad dressing, and I'm going to say no salad dressing for starting yesterday through July 10th for the 40-day challenge. That's going to be my habit, and I'm going to have to figure, I guess I eat salads every day, so it's just a matter of I'll make a little checkbox, and every day I don't eat salad dressing, I'll put a check in that. I mean, it could be that easy, a way of measuring that. So, that's it. That's all I've got for you today. SOAP. Situation, story. What is the story you're telling yourself about where you are now and where you want to go? Options. What are the options that you have? And there's infinite options, infinite possibilities, right? To address the situation that you're in to help move you toward where you want to be. A, take action. What action are you going to take? What small action will you take every single day to move you toward what it is that you want? And P, progress. Are you making progress toward that? And if you're not, try something else. You loop back around and around and around with this. It's a process. It isn't a thing you're going to get done. Oh, I'm going to overcome this challenge and I'm never going to have another challenge in my life. Wouldn't that be boring? Wouldn't that be interesting yet boring if we never had any challenges? Because our challenges create change. Our challenges make us who we are. Our challenges create our life and our life experiences. So I will see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. right here, same bat time, same bat channel, to answer questions during that I've acquired over the question and answers period throughout the challenge, and we will answer those. And then Sunday, I will share some stories and some other things to launch us into Monday for the 40-day challenge. And I will also issue an invitation if anybody wants to join me in our Get Up and Go coaching program. Have an amazing day. If I can help you in any way, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow.